Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday and Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Note the change in schedule here. This was Bookmap's decision, not my decision. Earlier this year, or late last year, I was streaming 5 days a week. Bookmap cut that to 3 days a week, now 2 days a week. They're looking for more participants in Discord. So if you value this content, if you like my webinar, please join me in Bookmap Discord. More about that in just a minute. You can still access free webinars. It just helps me out if you access the webinars from Discord. First of all, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. And that's one of the many benefits of joining Bookmap Discord, access to the Options-Doug chat channel, as well as many others. I'm also on X. My name there is @DougPless. More about Bookmap Discord. Again, Bookmap is encouraging everyone to join Bookmap Discord. You do need a Bookmap subscription. There is a free subscription available. Once you subscribe, you'll need to verify your account, and then you can fully participate in chat and watch my stream as well as all the other streams that are available in Bookmap Discord. So it's still free. You just have to do a little, put in a little extra effort to get to Bookmap Discord to participate in chat and watch my stream. Another announcement: this CME competition, traded futures trading competition, actually began yesterday, trading scary size. You can go to competition.bookmap.com for more information. And finally, to wrap up the news, beta programs available. Email beta@bookmap.com. Also, Blue Jacket competition goes on every month. And then Bookmap Academy, a great place to advance your trading ability and knowledge. And the Bookmap Academy meets on Thursday afternoon just after the market closes. All right, here are the key tenets to my approach for trading. This is the basis of my approach for trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures, certainly in the large cap tech stocks like the Magnificent Seven stocks, as well as the equity index futures like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is the ETF version of that index, and the ES futures contract is a derivative of SPX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the NASDAQ 100, NDX is the underlying index, QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index, and the NQ futures contract is a derivative of NDX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading and the first is planning. And I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned at the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as a directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap in real-time market maker, hedging flow, and Spotgamma hero to confirm my thesis. And for setups, and when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset. Setups then that asset can be taken with futures contracts, shares of stock, or options, depending on the asset, as well as the way you like to trade. And I will be going through this two-step process for trading. And there was certainly a very interesting interplay of order flow on Bookmap and hedging flow in Spotgamma hero, especially for the SP 500, ES, SPX, and SPY. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options Jug chat channel as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Here's my agenda for today, Wednesday, October 30th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, events, and earnings for yesterday, today, as well as the rest of the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups earlier today, and then I'll get to the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know, and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's get started. First of all, with news items. Economic data, events, and earnings. So first of all, GDP data came out this morning, and that was a little bit less than expected, and also less than the previous number. And I'll get to earnings in just a minute. So for the rest of the week, tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, jobless claims, PCE data, very important number, comes out 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then on Friday, the monthly jobs report, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then there's at 10 a.m. ISM manufacturing PMI. So very important data coming up on Thursday and Friday mornings. All right, let's talk about earnings. So yesterday evening, AMD and Google reported earnings after the market closes. A very different reaction. We'll take a look at that later on. And then Meta and Microsoft report earnings after the market closes today. And then on Thursday, Apple and Amazon report earnings after the market closes. So very important 3 days coming up. Today, tomorrow and Friday. And then also next week, of course, the election and also the FOMC meeting and announcement. All right, so more about that in just a minute. Very pivotal data and events coming up. All right, let's move on to positional analysis. I'm going to start with the SP 500. This is the ES futures and Bookmap. Very interesting day today. If you remember on Monday, very choppy day, very difficult to trade. Much more to work with today, much more interesting day, much better trading today. So here's the SP 500. ES futures. Let's take a quick look at the higher time frame. Go to the underlying index. That's SPX. I'm going to start with a one-day chart. This is 1 year's worth of data. This is when January 1st. So you can see just after that, SPX has been continues to rally, making new highs. All right, so that's the 1 year, 1 day chart. Let's take a look at now at a little bit lower time frame. Let's go to a 30-day, 1 hour chart. And here you can see contraction, expansion, and then more contraction, and certainly looking for some expansion move, a big move up or down, most likely next week after the election and FOMC. So SPX has been trading in a very narrow range, really between around 5,800. There was one excursion down below that level last week. So between 5,800 and around 5,875, 5,880 on the upside. And SPX continues to trade in that range today. And most recently, that range has been between 5,800 and 5,850. All right, let's take a look at the levels on this chart. First of all, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. This is based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from last Friday. Those levels remain in place for the entire week. Then the dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move. That's based on the options market again, based on the closing price for SPX from yesterday. I do post those levels in Discord in the options-Doug channel every day the evening before. So SPX trading within both of those ranges. All right, the dark red lines on this chart are Spotgamma levels. These are based on gamma-weighted open interest. They're provided to Spotgamma subscribers, available on a variety of trading platforms. I'm going to go over the key daily levels. These are the most important levels. Here's the put wall at 5,700. That's the strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. That level did move down slightly from yesterday, from 5,800 to 5,700, so did move down. Next level up is the volatility trigger at 5,820. We'll see in just a moment that SPX did break down below that level earlier today. Now it looks like it is threatening that level again. So that's Spotgamma's proprietary volatility and gamma flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure. That tends to enhance or increase volatility. Above that level, like SPX is barely trading now, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge the delta exposure. That tends to subdue or decrease volatility. And just above that is the absolute gamma strike at 5,850. That's a strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. That can be, that's where most of the gamma weighted open interest is concentrated. And then above that is the call wall at 6,000. That's a strike with the largest net positive gamma that can be expected to act as a resistance. So potential floor for price at 5,700. Again, that level did move lower from yesterday. And potential, that's the potential floor at the put wall, potential ceiling at the call wall at 6,000. And then the absolute gamma strike just in between those two levels at 5,850. All right, shifts in levels for the SPX. Again, the put wall shifted lower. There were no other shifts and no shifts for this for SPY. So just very slightly bullish shifts, shift lower in one level for SPX, slightly bearish. All right, let's wrap up our view of SPX with a 1 minute chart. So right now, looking at Bookmap, it looks like SPX has found support at the 5,820 volatility trigger. That's this white line right here. Note I'm using a new version of price line, so now my labels are not in cloud notes, they're just online here on the lines. So that is the 5,820. More about that in just a minute. Let's go to that 1 minute chart. SPX 1 minute chart. Here's the volatility trigger. So you can see this quick move lower and a very V-shaped reversal below the volatility trigger. I did post something about that in Discord this morning. Initially, it looked like it was going to be a pretty bearish day, but I'll show you what happened, and we can take a look at delta pressure and trace and see one reason why the S&P 500 reversed higher above the volatility trigger, and then found resistance And we'll take a look at delta pressure and trace to see what happened up there. That's the 5850 level, the absolute gamma strike. So the 5820 level was noted as support in a Spotgamma AM Founders note, and the 5850 noted as resistance. All right, on to Bookmap now. So again, I used to have my own cloud notes. Now I'm using this new version of Pricelines that does not rely on cloud notes. So let's take a look at key levels, and then we'll get to go to the NASDAQ, and then we'll talk about setups. All right, so again this morning, first of all, the sharp reversal just after the cash open with this break below volatility triggers, both the SPY 581 volatility trigger, price broke below that level just after the cash open, moved down into a buying support zone, and reversed higher back above both volatility triggers, finding some selling pressure here, and that was in trace. And then here, the second test of the 5850 level, you can see the selling pressure in Bookmap. These are limit sell orders, and also again the 5850 resistance level. So more about setups in a few minutes. So key levels, SPY volatility trigger, and then this cluster of levels with the 5820 volatility trigger, that is SPX. All these labels in white are either SPX or SPY, and then there's the ES 5850 level. And note there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. Today it is somewhere between 34 and 35. And I'm using 35, so I'm showing the SPX 5820 level at 5855. And no doubt I do post those index relationships that I'm using every day in Discord. So another benefit of joining Discord. All right, so that's the S&P 500, key levels in play. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. Also a very sharp reversal this morning. And note in both the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, there was very little reaction to the GDP data. All right, key levels in play for NASDAQ. This cluster of levels here, that is NQ 20,550, and just above that is a combo level, that is a QQQ combo 1 level, very important level, combining NDX and QQQ, gamma weighted open interest into one level in terms of a QQQ price. Then on the upside, there are many levels that look like acted as resistance. And it looks like the NQ 20,700 level was the final level of resistance. So a combination of NDX and QQQ levels just below that. Let's take a quick look at the underlying index charts. Go to QQQ. So there's support at that combo level, combo 1 level. And then these levels acting as resistance, that's the 500 absolute gamma strike. And just below that combo, another combo level. And that is a C2, combo 2 level. Note the volatility trigger at 499. So just like SPY, QQQ reversed, broke below its volatility trigger, traded down to that combo level, traded up above the volatility trigger, and now it's trading below again. quick look at NDX, and then we'll get back to Bookmap. So NDX, mainly resistance levels up here. Combo 4 level, combo 2 level. And note NDX is still trading above its volatility trigger at 20,290. All right, back to Bookmap. And more about setups in just a few minutes. All right, so those levels in play for today. Combination of QQQ, NDX, and NQ levels. NQ levels shown in red. All right, let's wrap up our positional analysis by taking a look at Gamma. I'm going to take a quick look at Gamma notional at the beginning of the day. This is market maker's position on the Gamma curve at the beginning of the day for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. All these numbers did move higher from yesterday, but overall, this is fairly neutral. All right, let's take a look at, so that is based on information from yesterday. That's market maker's position on the Gamma curve at the beginning of the day. Now let's move on. Let's take a real-time, take a look at real-time Gamma notional. So this is current Gamma notional. Blue is positive Gamma, red negative Gamma. So you can see this is for SPX current. It's this data is updated once every 10 minutes, so it's a little bit behind it right now. It's showing data from 140. Let's step back to the beginning of the day. Let's go to 940. So 940, close to the open. SPX was still in slightly positive Gamma. You can also see the blue bars here. That's market maker Gamma, positive Gamma. So remember, in positive Gamma, we're looking for more mean reverting price action. Traders to sell rips and buy dips. And that's certainly what happened today. All right, so that's at the beginning of the day. One other thing to note, the stability index is pretty moderate. So looking for a bit more movement today than if it was higher up 70, 80%. And then I would be looking for a lot of movement if this was in the, I don't know, maybe 30% range. So most recently, this has been a higher number, but on the low side of what it has been for the last few days. So looking for still positive Gamma, mean reverting price action, but bigger movements. So I'm stepping through time now. That stability index is moving up a little bit, and now right around 59%. So still in the blue positive Gamma zone. This highest bar right here is that's 5840 now, just below the 5850 absolute Gamma strike. Note the pockets of negative Gamma above and below. So if price breaks below, this is the Spotgamma implied one-day move low. So if price breaks below that level, for example, you can look for faster movement through that level in negative Gamma. And that would also imply a break of the volatility trigger at 5820. So an acceleration move lower is potential. All right, so that's the current picture of Gamma. Again, SPX in a positive Gamma environment right now. All right, so my thesis for today, I was looking for more moderate volatility. with this stability index somewhere in the middle of the range right now at 50%. So still mean reverting price action, but wider ranges within that mean reversion movement up and down. And I forgot to mention for NASDAQ, the shifts in levels for NDX call wall absolute gamma strike moved up to 20,620, and for QQQ volatility trigger and call wall moved higher. So my thesis for the day was pretty neutral for the SP 500, no shifts in levels other than the call wall shifted down for SPX, and bullish for NASDAQ based on the shifts higher levels for NDX and QQQ. All right, let's move on now to execution. Let's take a look at some setups. So I'm going to start with the SP 500, and I'm going to focus on this reversal higher right around 940, 945. All right, so I'm going to again start with the SP 500. And I'm going to start with by taking a look at what options traders have been doing today. We'll take a look at HIRO. This is the HIRO signal. HIRO, this is available to Spotgamma subscribers. We'll take a look at this as well as Trace. And note I did post setups. I did post this information in Discord this morning, so another advantage of joining Bookmap Discord is you get see some of that information, what I'm thinking about, what I'm seeing in the market. All right, so again, let's start with options trades. Take a look at what options traders were doing this morning. This is the HIRO signal for the SP 500 index. So this is the index signal showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for a combined signal of SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. There are two lines on this chart. The white line is price for SPX, and the purple line is the HIRO signal. That's combining calls and puts into one signal. A falling HIRO signal indicates traders are taking negative delta options positions. They're buying puts and or selling calls in these index instruments. And a rising HIRO signal indicates they're taking positive delta options positions. They're buying calls and or selling puts. All right, so that's the index signal. There's another signal that we can take a look at for the S&P 500. This is the equity signal. What this is showing is options trades and market maker hedging activity for all 500 stocks in the S&P 500 index. So the first signal we took a look at was the index signal. This is the equity signal. So let's go back and let's start with the index signal. I'm going to go to full screen. In the case today, I'm just going to keep this on the total view, looking at calls and puts combined. To me, it was a little bit more clear. And this is what I start off with in the morning. This is the first HIRO signal that I look at, the index signal in total view. Sometimes separating out puts and calls provides more clarity, but I think this is plenty clear today. All right, so there was that initial drop lower. Remember the break below the SPY 581 volatility trigger. Price sliced right through the SPX 5820 volatility trigger. Looked like it was going to be a pretty bearish day. And then options traders started taking positive delta positions in the index components, leading to a sharp reversal. All right, so that's the clue, and that's the clue in the index signal of a potential reversal. Let's take a look at Trace. So the first Trace shows gamma, delta, and charm. So I was looking at gamma. Now I'm looking at delta. This is delta pressure. I'm going to step back. I'm going to go to just after the open, 940. So this was a clue of a potential reversal. So the red zone, that is selling pressure. So you can see from actually before the cash open, the S&P 500 was experiencing selling pressure. This line here is the hero signal, and 940, the S&P 500 was dropping down into this blue buying support zone. So that was really the first clue that there may be a reversal, as SPX broke down below the red selling pressure zone, broke down into the blue buying support. Let's step forward 10 minutes. Come on. All right. Step forward 10 minutes. Now this becomes more apparent that SPX has dropped down into that buying support zone. Hero signal starts to rise and breaks back above the 5820 volatility trigger. And we'll take a look at clues in Bookmap. So we've taken a look at the clues here in Trace and Delta pressure, and also in Hero, showing the sharp reversal from negative Delta options position to positive Delta positions. And I'll get to Bookmap in just a moment. Katinga asks, welcome, hello. I'm looking at Trace SPX 5850. Is that the highest positive gamma for the day? That's where most of the absolute positive and negative gamma is located. We'll go back to real time and Trace in just a minute to see where the highest positive gamma is for today. All right, Craig had also asked about color settings here in Trace. So the default colors that Spotgamma uses, purple and red, for me there's not enough contrast. Red for negative and purple for positive, so I have changed my colors. Note there's a new tool for doing that, a new setting. I think this was just introduced maybe on Monday, this dropper here. So if you don't see that, you need to do a hard refresh on your browser. For Chrome, on Windows, I believe it is a Control F5. We'll do a hard refresh, and then you should be able to get the latest version of Trace here. So let's open up, I'll go through this quickly for Craig here. So you can change, originally, there were just two color settings that covered the entire Trace, but now you can change the strike price for the gamma exposure. So I've made that. I left the red as the default. The default, I left that, and I changed the purple to blue, what looks like blue to me. All right, so I've changed both the heat map color and the GEX color to matching colors, more blue for the positive. And then I also changed the hero line color. It was a purple that looked like it blended in a little bit too much for me. So I changed this to this bright green so there's more contrast, so it stands out for me. So I just adjusted that visually to what makes sense for me and what provides more contrast. All right, let's move back to real time now. All right, so Katinga, this is the 5840 strike. Let's go back to the gamma chart. And that's real time also showing the highest positive gamma right now in this range on the chart is at 58.40. All right, so that's the S&P 500. I talked about the clues for a reversal higher right around 940 and trace in the delta pressure, price moving down toward that positive buying support zone. The sharp shift higher in the hero signal from negative delta to positive delta. Remember, when traders take positive delta positions, buying calls, selling puts, market makers take the opposite side of those trades. And in this case, they have to buy ES futures to hedge the delta exposure. All right, so let's look at that. Let's go back to S&P 500. I'm going to zoom in. Zoom in just a little bit more. All right, so initially when I saw this, I thought, all right, it's going to be a bearish day. There's that break below the SPY 581 volatility trigger, and then a slice right through the SPX 5820 volatility trigger. But then looking at trace again, delta pressure, seeing SPX move down into that positive buying support zone. Again, that was the first clue. Next clue here in Bookmap, you can see large traders were fading this move. They were buying weakness with iceberg orders. That's shown by this light blue line in the subchart. It's very typical of large traders with iceberg orders. Again, buying weakness. Let's zoom in on this just a little bit more. All right, so looking at the additional lines in the subchart, this is the market pulse price change indicator. There are a number of algorithms with market pulse. This is price change. This is what I like. So this red is showing an extreme here. Note how price lines, the market pulse price change indicator, starts to move higher before price. Very nice leading indicator. So we already know that large traders were buying with iceberg orders. They were fading weakness. They were buying weakness. Then you can see the volume dots in Bookmap. They show market buy minus sell. Magenta dots, more sellers than buyers. Green volume dots, more buyers than sellers. Aggressive buyers starting to come in. Cumulative volume delta starts to rise. And as price starts to move up, buy stop orders shown by the yellow line help to fuel that move higher. And you can see all the, the very sharp, strong shift from magenta volume dots to green volume dots. Very clear here in Bookmap, the shift from aggressive sellers to aggressive buyers. All right, let's see what happens next. So first of all, we know this 58.50 absolute gamma strike was noted as resistance in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. So let's take a look at, let's go to delta pressure. Take a look at about 1030, 1040. So back to delta pressure, and we'll take a look at hero also. So back to, whoops. Back to delta pressure. Having trouble with my pen tool, sorry. All right, back to delta pressure. Let's go back in time. We'll go to 1040. Suki, and let's go 10 minutes further. Sorry. So 1050. You can see as price was approaching this 58.50 level, absolute gamma strike resistance level, the selling pressure was building. So the SPX had left that zone of buying support. Hero had already started to turn lower. And again, SPX finding resistance in the red selling pressure area. All right, let's go to real time now. All right, I'm stepping through time now. So again, right around noon, SPX found resistance at 58.50, made it all the way up to 58.50. Hero turned lower, and you can see the selling pressure just above 58.50. So it looks like now SPX is in somewhat of a neutral zone with the red selling pressure above and the blue buying support below. And certainly in between the range for today, hedge wall below, key gamma strike above. Hello, Hector. Hector asked, could it be possible to see how you have set Hero on Spotgamma? Do you find useful zoom in? Well, I really have not made any changes to Hero here. I keep it on, we'll take a look. So after the open, I turn off extended hours. This applies to the SP 500, ES, and SPX only. So I turn off extended hours, and I keep the rolling window at 1 day. I don't change that. And that's Spotgamma. Brett at Spotgamma does the same thing. He leaves that on 1 day. So in the morning, I leave it typically all the way zoomed out. So I'm looking at in the morning. There's no need to zoom in really. And in the afternoon, I will often zoom in to get a closer look at what is happening now. So it looks like, just like we saw on the trace signal, the Hero signal is moving up, that shown by that bright green line. And there's also the equity signal. Let's see what that's doing now. So that was for this move lower, it did provide a pretty good clue. Again, resistance at the key gamma strike. This is showing traders who are buying puts and or selling calls in the S&P 500 stocks. Let's go back to so looking at the S&P 500 index, this is my default, and I think it's providing a better signal today, more closely correlated with the price. So there's that valley, another valley there, peaks, signaling a little bit of a move lower as the S&P 500 approached that 58.50 resistance level, selling pressure above. Same thing here, another peak in the Hero signal. Again, as SPX found resistance at 58.50 and selling pressure above. Now it looks like traders have started taking positive delta positions again. In this case, just above the 58.20 volatility trigger. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ. And hello, September. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, NASDAQ. This is the NASDAQ index signal. Take a quick look at this. showing options trades, market maker hedging activity for a combined signal of NDX and QQQ. There's another signal that we can take a look at for the NASDAQ. That is the Stephen asked, hello, welcome, glad you're here. Can you show puts and calls chart, please? Which chart do you want to see, calls and puts? And I'll definitely do that. S&P 500 index signal. Okay. All right, we'll do that in just a minute. We'll get back to that. All right, so this is the other signal that we can take a look at for Continua says NQ and trace would be nice. So right now, trace is for SPX only. So there will not be a trace for NQ, but most likely for QQQ and NDX. I think that is coming sometime in the future. Spotgamma has mentioned that. So trace right now just for SPX, but other instruments are coming. All right, so this is the signal for the NASDAQ, the Magnificent Seven, Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Tesla, showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for all 7 stocks. And let's go back to full screen. Definitely a lagging signal today for this reversal higher. Starting 15 or 20 minutes later. Go back to the NASDAQ signal. And just like the S&P 500, this was a leading, provided a more, a closer, closer approximation of price. So let's zoom in on this. Actually, we can take a look at puts and calls here. It did provide some additional clarity. Let me zoom in. All right, so orange line is calls and the blue line is puts. So what this chart is showing is traders started buying calls and selling puts, and price responded just a few minutes later, a couple of minutes later. So a little bit of a leading indicator. And again, I thought the NASDAQ index signal was a better signal today. I'm going to jump to the S&P 500 for Stephen. All right, so here you can see traders were buying calls from the open. Traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls, and they have to buy, in this case, futures to hedge their delta exposure. And initially they were buying puts, took their foot off the gas, started selling puts, buying calls, selling puts, price moved higher. So that does provide a little bit of additional clarity. All right, so we were back on NASDAQ. Let's go to the NASDAQ. Zoom in on this. Now, as Katinga pointed out, we don't have trace for NASDAQ yet, but definitely good clues in Hero as well as Bookmap. So just like the S&P 500, large traders were fading this move. Let me zoom in just a little bit more. Fading the move down, buying with iceberg orders. And again, you can see the very stark shift from negative volume, bearish volume dots to bullish volume dots. Shift from magenta to green. Cumulative volume delta starts to rise. Buy stop orders fuel the move higher. And let's zoom in just a little bit more here. And you can see this market pulse price change indicator does start to move higher. just a little bit before price starts to move higher as a leading indicator. So first leading indicator of Bookmap, large traders fading that move down, buying with iceberg orders. Price change, market pulse price change starts to move higher after registering this extreme, and then price moves higher. All right, that's S&P 500 and NASDAQ. Let's take a quick look at some stocks. First of all, let's take a look at stocks that reported earnings yesterday after the close. AMD, I have yesterday and today on this chart. This is yesterday, sharp drop after the open, after the close, I'm sorry. So rally yesterday, sharp drop, having trouble with the pin tool, rally, sharp drop overnight. Now we'll zoom in on price action today. Note for AMD, 150 is the put wall. And price is chopping up and down around that level, mostly trending lower. We'll see what options traders are doing in just a moment. All right, so we know that cumulative volume delta is rising. Let's see again, let's take a look at what options traders have been doing in AMD. So in AMD, again, cumulative volume delta rising. There are some aggressive buyers in there, but traders are selling calls shown by the falling orange line and buying puts. Negative notional value, delta notional for both. So again, they're selling puts, selling calls and buying puts, both negative delta. Price struggling just around the 150 put wall. So the dip buyers are definitely not here in the options market today for AMD. All right, let's take a look at Google, the other stock that reported. Let's go back to, so AMD struggling with its put wall and Google struggling with its call wall at 180. Let's go to Bookmap. Again, I loaded data back, 24 hours of data. A little bit of rally yesterday, sharp drop, sharp move higher at the open, up to the 180 call wall. Now let's zoom in and take a look at price action today. WRB asked, would you look at Meta? Yeah, that's next on my list. All right, going to today, remember 180 is the call wall. Opening print, price, Google did trade above that level, made a lower high, and it is now trading below that level, also below VWAP. Let's see what options traders are doing in Google. So in Google, they have been buying puts, shown by the falling blue line. And overall today, net sellers of calls, shown by the negative notional value there. Let's zoom in on the morning. So traders basically buying puts from the open. There were a few call buyers. They took the foot off the gas, and then price started to move lower, breaking down below the 180 call wall. All right, that's Google. Now we'll get to Meta. And Meta, note Meta 600 as the call wall. Zoom in on just this a little bit. So in the morning, the put line was pretty flat. Initially, they sold calls, started buying calls. Price found resistance at the 600 call wall, key gamma strike. Call buyers took their foot off the gas, started selling calls, continued buying puts. Price moved lower, and that was around noon. So let's go take a look at Meta and Bookmap. And I did load 2 days worth of data in Meta. I think Meta rallied pretty strongly yesterday, then gapped up, maybe in sympathy with Google. And let's take a look at price action for today. Remember, 600 call wall, key gamma strike. Sharp move lower. Meta found support right around 592, 593. Then resistance right at the 600 call wall, key gamma strike, as call buyers took the foot off the gas, started selling calls, and traders continued to buy puts. Price moved lower back to this earlier low of the day. That's also right around point of control. That's shown by that purple line there. And that is actually because I have 2 days worth of data. So that's going back all the way to this right here, the closing print. So that's why the point of control is not at today's opening print, which was right around 600. And if I didn't have 2 days worth of data, the opening print, the point of control would be right around there. All right, there's Meta. Nice short setup at the 600 call wall that you expect to act as resistance. So Meta reports earnings after the close today. Microsoft also reports earnings after the close. Let's see how options traders are positioning. So we know in Meta they are buying puts and selling calls ahead of earnings today. And Microsoft, they are buying calls and buying puts. Positive notional value, delta notional for calls, and negative notional value for puts. So they're buying calls and buying puts. This is pretty typical of Microsoft, these large vertical bars and heroes showing institutional orders, large block orders. All right, next stock I want to take a look at is NVIDIA. And then we'll get back for a final look at the indexes. And I'm going to go to the total signal here for NVIDIA. It's a little bit more clear. I'm going to have to jump back. Zoom in on the morning. So initially traders are taking negative delta positions. Price move lower. And a key for a reversal here is this flow alert, signaling significant option activity. And in this case, a very nice mean reversion signal, signaling a potential reverse from negative delta to positive delta. And that was right around 9:45 when the indexes started to reverse higher. So let's go take a look at Bookmap, take a look at NVIDIA and Bookmap. All right, there's that reversal higher, flow alert. Traders shift from negative delta to positive delta. Sellers are exhausted. Aggressive buyers start to come in. Price moves back quickly up 3 points to the right around 140. So you can see the high liquidity at each of these round number levels. These are limit orders that come in the order book. Typically at the cash open, stay in place until they're filled. And these were limit sell orders at 150, acting as a magnet for price. Let's go back to Hero. Pretty choppy Hero signal here. We'll shift back to puts and calls. Traders not doing much with puts, showing them by the flat. Sorry, I keep picking the wrong pen tool. Pretty much flat Hero signal. Mildly buying puts. And then call buyers came in really 2 times today. Right at that reversal, right around 9:45, and then again just before 11:30. But now they've taken the foot off the gas. 140 is the key gamma strike price, struggling with that level. All right, does anyone have any other stocks they want me to take a look at? All right, so the S&P 500 looks like the Hero signal has shifted negative now. Take a look at the S&P equity signal, pretty flat. Take a look at trace, delta pressure. And it looks like the red selling pressure is starting to move down, and that's also confirmed by the falling Hero signal, the bright green line. So you can take a look at the also the contour line there, sloping down. Selling pressure moving down, now below the 5850 key gamma strike. Let's go to Bookmap. Go back to the S&P 500. All right, ES now trading below VWAP. Trading up and down around the SPY 581 volatility trigger. Hunab, welcome, glad you're here. Wants to see Bito. Let's see if I don't have that at Bookmap. Let's see if it's in Hero. Let's give it a Hero. Oops. And there you go. Hunab, traders taking negative delta options positions in BITO, Bitcoin ETF. And price not doing much. Looks like it may be slightly up on the day compared with the opening. All right, let's go back to the S&P 500. All right, let's wrap up by taking a look at a potential pin target today. And I'm going to go to the charm pressure. All right, what this is showing is charm is the change in delta as time passes. And toward the end of the day, this can be a very good indication of a potential pinning target for the end of the day. And potential pinning targets for today, most likely based on price right now, is this level right here, in between the red selling pressure above and the blue buying support below. Other potential pin targets there, and if price does happen to break above the key gamma strike up there. So let's see where those levels are. Most likely pin target right here at 58.30. That was this zone right here, closest to 58.30. Down below at 58.15. All right, everyone, I want to thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. And a special thank you to all of you who are watching in Discord. That really helps me out. If you want to continue to see this stream, please join Bookmap Discord. Watch my stream at Discord. If you want to see this continue, see my webinar continue if you find this valuable. All right, everyone. Have a great afternoon, a great rest of your week. Remember, a lot of data coming up, and then we'll talk about the big week coming up next week on Monday. So I will see you on Monday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Please join me in Discord, and in Discord I will keep you up on the final closing, whether SPX closes at one of these pin targets. All right, everyone, thanks again. And I will see you on Monday, and I will be active in Discord between now and then. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.